mic'd every single piston. Hey guys, we're back on the Triumph TR6 2.5 liter. I'm gonna finish up honing this thing, chamfer the cylinders, get this thing washed and all ready for the customer. The customer got some county pistons and some Grant rings. I always mic every single piston when I bore an engine. And then this is calling for 1,8 to 2 and 2. We're gonna set it right in the middle at 2. And then when I was micing them, this piston was 3/10 smaller than the rest, so I'm gonna custom bore number 1. Just make it a snug tighter, so we'll all be at 2 inch or 2 thousandths clearance. I mic'd them. Besides number 1, they were all at 2 inch, 959 thousandths and 3/10, and this was right at 59. So we're gonna shoot. I'm gonna set my bore gauge for 961 and 3, and like I said, number 1's gonna be 3/10 smaller, so they'll all be at 2 thousandths clearance, which will be perfect for this guy. So. The thing I don't like about these Grant rings, first off, they're very plain, and they're a cast iron. It's too bad you didn't get like a Molly ring. These will work, but you know, Molly's a little bit superior. It would have been nice if you would have got some Molly rings, but this will work fine. Hey, now I'm going to be chamfering the bottom of the cylinders. I just got a cartridge roll on a die grinder. It's a must in my shop. If you don't chamfer these cylinders, it scrapes all the oil film off the skirt of the piston. That literally took 1 minute 30 seconds, and I blabbed for a little bit. So if you're not doing this to your engine, that's a shame on you. All right, now for the top. This just helps you get the rings and piston in the cylinder, mainly the rings. Just get that sharp edge off. That's all it is. See what I did here? Like I said, I just got that little sharp edge at the top to help get the rings in. And then way down there, I don't even know if you can see it, just slightly chamfered. Like I said, it helps keep the oil film on the piston skirt. If you don't do that, it just scrapes all that oil on that skirt, and it doesn't have that cushion between the piston and cylinder wall that you need. About 2.5 thousandths till size. So let's just get the honing. I got these general purpose, I think they're 220 grit. So let's get the honing on this thing. Yeah, about 2 thou out of size. Hair over 1 thou, so leave that one be, go to the next one. You always want to take your time when you're getting this close to the cylinder final bore size. You don't have to order another set of pistons because you weren't patient, but you know, take your time. There we go, just go to the next one. And then every once in a while you want to hit your stones together. It deglazes them. They can glaze up pretty easy if you keep honing. Kind of a shame on these Triumphs. They were kind of worried about the tax. They taxed the manufacturers for how big the cylinder bore was. So Triumph made a small cylinder, a small bore, long stroke engine, so they weren't taxed as much. And it kind of compromises everything. You know, you can't put big valves in the head or anything like that.
Stupid idea.
Yeah, they should have put a tarp on it. So it really compromised the engine designs. You know, the cylinder heads, they look okay from a distance, high intake port, but then you flip them over and the valves are just teeny weeny. But yeah, they could have, you know, enlarged the bore, you know, quite a bit, maybe 3.5 inches instead of, you know, a hair under 3. They could have put some valves in this thing, and that thing would have made quite a bit of power on that little sporty car. Instead, you have, you know, a little bit of low end torque, and that's all you kind of get. All right, I just finished honing this thing to size. Let's check this thing with the bore gauge. Zero. Nice. That thing turned out great. So after I honed this thing to size like I just did, everything's right where I want it. I'll give all the cylinders another 3 strokes at very, very light pressure. I just like to get this line. There's lines when you check it with a bore gauge. Me giving those couple strokes takes those lines away. I'm just really kind of picky on these things. And then after that, like I said, we got it honing with the 220. We'll move on to the plateau stones. It gets all the high peaks and valleys and makes the ring seat immediately. I give the cylinders 10 strokes in each cylinder with these stones. So let's get to honing. I'll put you guys on a hyperlapse and show you the process. All right, this is what it looks like when I'm all done with those plateau stones. Those cylinders look great. This thing's gonna run very, very good for the customer. There it is, all done. New brass freeze plugs, some paint on it. This thing turned out great. We got the cam ground at Delta Cam and the lifters. My dad rebuilt the cylinder head, has all new valves and springs. We upgraded and put some valve stem seals on it. This thing doesn't come factory with any seals. And then he totally resized the rods and put pin bushings in it. These things are kind of a funky rod compared to something kind of looks like a diesel rod out of a 6.0 Power Stroke or something. The bore's so small and they made the rod journal so big, they had to accommodate and cut the rod like this. But like I said, it's pretty stout for what it is. And then we got this marked number 1. Like I said, I bored number 1 3/10 smaller to make everything 2000s piston to wall clearance. So there you guys go. Guys, well there you have it. I just finished up that TR6. Kind of a cool project for me. I see them every now and again, these oddball like MG 1800s or TR6s or whatever they are. They're kind of cool. I don't know if you guys knew this, but these British cars, they were taxed on bore size. So that's why all these British cars have a very small bore and large stroke. It's kind of a shame because they're kind of cool little sporty cars, and if they would have just enlarged the bore and put some big valves in this thing. Like I said, some of the heads have really good designs as far as the ports. They're real high and pretty decent size, and then it just noses down to a tiny little intake valve and tiny little bore. Like I said, it's kind of a shame. I wish they would have either paid the tax, had the car a little bit more expensive, or whatever it was. I'm not entirely sure what the tax was as far as passing it along to the manufacturer or the customer or what. But like I said, it's kind of a shame. I don't know if you guys know, but there's another guy on YouTube kind of dogging on these TR6s. these British cars for having small bores and big connecting rods and oversized rod bolts and this and that. That same person has 3 British cars of his own. Secret's out, guy. So, like I said, next time you see a video about this guy dogging on some TR6 stuff, just be aware he has 3 Austins. So, same design, and he's just hiding it from you. It's kind of funny. I appreciate you guys following me along on this engine build, and I'll see you guys in the next video.